Hello, NNH. I am super excited to be here, like really excited, more than you can imagine, because as Tom mentioned, I'm not just your regular keynote. I'm a longtime employee of the NNA, and if you think about it this way, I'm going on my 15th year. That's big, right? And so, yeah. So I wanted to do something to commemorate this 15th year, something really special, something memorable. And so I got something I'm about to show you. I've been saving it just for you guys, okay? So this is the big reveal. I got this. What do you think? Do you like it? Yeah? I'll tell you another secret. Tom Hyman has a matching one. He cried like a baby. Okay, we really don't have notary tattoos, but I really do have a huge heart for notaries. As he mentioned, I've traveled the nation teaching notaries, because back in the day, we used to go to other states and teach notaries. So I've been in 19 different states teaching notaries. And so I've gotten to know hundreds of thousands of notaries over the years. And I've noticed a few common threads about you guys. First of all, you have the most warm, friendly smiles in the universe. It's true. I could be having the worst morning at a seminar, and one of you will flash a smile at me, and it changes the course of my day. And if you don't believe me, turn to the person next to you and flash that warm, friendly smile. Warm up somebody's day. What'd I say, right? Another common thread, you guys have good moral character, and I'm not talking about just the definition of a notary kind of moral character. I'm talking about what I've experienced day in and day out. You all have inspired me to be a better person. It's true. Thank you for that. And then another common thread, you guys have big dreams, you have great ideas, you have huge potential. But in those same conversations, I've also heard you say that you feel stuck, you feel stagnant, and you don't know how to take that next step or get to the next level. And so that's what I want to talk to you about today. I want to talk to you about getting unstuck. But in order to understand where we're stuck, we've got to kind of look at a typical day and know how we use our energy and resources and where we're getting stuck. So let's take a look at a typical day, all right? Let me just describe. I know, right? Isn't that cute? How many of you have done that? Yeah, daily, right? Or I'll be looking for my sunglasses that are on my head. Okay, so let me describe a typical day. You wake up before the alarm goes off because you just can't wait to get out of bed and start your day. You don't even need coffee because you're so ready. You make a nice, healthy breakfast, and then you even have time to chop up a nice, healthy salad for lunch. And you get to the office early, all right? You get everything checked off your to-do list by 11 a.m., so you take an early lunch, and you even have time for a nice brisk walk after lunch. And then you get back to the office, and you're like, oh my gosh, whatever will I do with the rest of my day? Does that sound familiar? All right, let me describe another kind of day, all right? You wake up before the alarm goes off, but only because you have to go to the bathroom, right? So at 4 a.m., you're laying back down thinking, oh my gosh, my alarm's gonna go off in an hour and a half, and so your mind starts spinning, right? So you're tossing, you're turning, you can't fall back to sleep until right before the alarm goes off. Isn't that always the case? I mean, you go into the deepest sleep right before the alarm goes off, and then when the alarm goes off, you're shaken out of your sleep, but you have to hit snooze a couple of times because you're so groggy. Now you're running late for work, so you grab a protein bar out the door, and you race to work, and you show up, and you got to get a couple cups of coffee in you before you can even think about working, right? All right, and then you get a few things done, but then it's time for lunch, so you run to lunch, and you have to run through the drive-thru and come back and eat your lunch at the desk because you didn't get everything done in the morning, so now you got to catch up in the afternoon. And at the end of the day, you're driving home thinking of all the things you didn't get done, what you need to get done, and the next day starts the same way. Does that sound familiar? Wouldn't it be nice if we could have more of those good days that I described? Yeah, well, that's what I want to talk to you about, how to get more of those good days so that you can reach your full potential. Now, let me back up just a little bit first. Why am I talking to you about this? Because as Tom mentioned, I have a passion for wellness. As I was traveling throughout the nation teaching notaries, I got a little bit burnt out on being on the road and in airplanes and living out of a suitcase. So at one point I got so burnt out and I thought, you know what, I really love my job with the NNA, but I've got to get off the road. What can I do? So I got pregnant. And it worked. I got off the road. And the pregnancy, that was no work at all, right? No burnout there at all. Anyway, I got off the road. Well, while I was on maternity leave, I met a lady named Jeannie Reddick. She's a holistic nutritionist. She became a friend of mine. You may know her son, JJ Reddick, who played for the Clippers last year and now for the 76ers. Well, anyway, Jeannie said something that changed my life. She said, this may be the first generation of children who do not outlive their parents because of the fast, fake foods we're feeding them and the lifestyle we're handing down to them. And that just blew me away. And it really touched me deeply as a new mom, right? And so I decided right then and there that I was going to do everything I could to help myself, my family, and my community be more healthy. And that's when I went and got my certification. That's when I started my businesses. This is I Can Spark. And if you have any children or grandchildren, you got to send them to my website. It's super fun, a great way to motivate them to just think about wellness in a holistic way. And then that's also where my books were born. The Greatness in You is a book that just teaches that we all have purpose. It's a message of hope and purpose and love for kids ages 1 to 99. And then I Can Spark Forever, a True Beauty course, is a workbook for young preteen girls to help them understand that they all have a unique purpose, and that's their true beauty. But they can only really express that fully when they feel good about mind, body, and spirit. So ultimately, my message is, in order for you to thrive, to feel fully alive, and to reach your greatest potential, you do have to be whole, you have to be well in mind, body, and spirit. Now don't worry, I'm not going to give you the 25-step plan for living a good life today. I'm not going to talk about the newest fitness trend or the latest diet fad. In fact, I feel like so many of those messages are just overwhelming, confusing, and in the end, disheartening. Have you experienced that? Yeah, we try diet after diet and nothing seems to work. And so really today, I just want to give you my 3 to thrive. I want to just give you 3 pictures that if you can picture every day and apply to your lives, it will really help you to get unstuck and get to the next level. So let's take a look at my 3 to thrive. Swamp or sea, junk in equals junk out, and story for glory. So swamp or sea, I want you to think about the swamp. What do you think of when you think of a swamp, people? Dirty, murky waters, alligators, mosquitoes, flies, right? Now I want you to tell me what you think of when you think of the sea. Ah, right? Those fresh turquoise waters, the waves crashing on the sand, right? Now they're both bodies of water, so what makes the difference? Movement. Movement, right? The sea is constantly moving to bring fresh life, right? Whereas the swamp remains stagnant. And now, I want to remind you of something you probably learned back in elementary school. You, my friends, are made up of 65 to 70% water. You are a body of water. So what kind of environment are you creating within you? The swamp or the sea? And what's going to make the difference? Movement. It doesn't matter what kind of movement. It could be CrossFit, yoga, jogging, just taking a walk with your dog. It's all about keeping that body moving. My grandmother, she turns 90 next week. I'm flying to Kentucky to celebrate with her after this. Yeah, so cool. And she still goes to aerobics every day. Yeah. She can't always stand up and do the moves, but she'll sit in her chair and keep her upper body moving because she realizes that movement brings life. All right, so if it's good enough for Grandma, it's good enough for me. You remember that song? I think it was Grandpa, though. If it's good enough for Grandpa. No, you don't remember that? Okay. If it's good enough for Grandma, it's good enough for me and for you. So guess what we're going to do, people? We're going to move. That's right. Yeah. You were thinking you were just going to sit here and listen. But no, you're going to get up and move with me, so I need everybody to stand up. All right? And as Tom mentioned, I'm a dance fitness coach, so I'm going to teach you a few of my students' favorite moves real quick, all right? It's summertime, so I'm going to stick with some summertime moves. So we're going camping, all right? And we got to know how to stomp those bugs and squash them. So are you guys ready? You're going to use your right foot first and stomp and squash. Stomp and squash with the left, right? And do it again. Stomp and squash. Stomp and squash. Now we're going to go on a road trip, so we need our backpack and we need our map. So we have a map on the right and one on the left. So we're going to grab our map out of our backpack, grab our other map out of our backpack, and we're going to drive our car. Drive our car. Okay? And what a wonderful day it's been out in the sun. So now we're just going to watch a movie and pop some popcorn. So we're going to pop popcorn with our shoulders. So take your right shoulder and pop, pop. And then the left shoulder, pop, pop. All right, you got it? Okay, so DJ, go ahead and cue the cheesy dance music. I got a little extra motivation for you, so take a look up here on the screen. This guy right here, he knows how to bring it. I've been to his back house studio. He just disco ball lights, he does it all. So we're gonna do this for Richard. Are you ready? And stomp, and squash. Stomp, and squash. Again, stomp, and squash. Stomp, and squash. Grab your map. Grab your map, grab your map, drive. Again, grab your map, and drive. Now we're gonna stomp and squash again. Stomp and squash. Stomp and squash. Again, stomp and squash. Stomp and squash. Grab your map. Oh yeah, we're doing this at an NNA conference. Oh yeah. Notaries have the most fun. Okay, pop your shoulders. Pop, 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 pop. Woo! All right. Give high fives to all your friends. You can have a seat. So I just want you to examine, how do you feel right now? Yeah, right? Maybe a little sweaty, maybe a little awkward, but you feel good, right? So what kind of energy is going to most attract your customers? The energy where you were sitting there, or the energy after you were up moving? What kind of energy is going to best drive your business, right? That kind of energy. Tony Robbins says, motion creates emotion. Great physiology leads to great emotions, and that is one of the keys to getting what? Unstuck. Because you know what? Movement doesn't just apply to our bodies, it also applies to our minds and our spirits. So turn that swamp to sea by just getting up and moving, right? All right, our next in our 3 to thrive, junk in equals junk out. I'm sure you've heard the phrase, you are what you eat, right? Yeah, and that's more true than you realize. Every bite that you put into your body becomes a living cell, becomes a building block. So with everything you eat, you're either fighting disease or feeding disease. Think about that. An exercise I like to do with my wellness clients, I'll bring in a budding flower, and I'll say, okay, today what we're gonna do is we're going to replant this flower so that it can grow. So I'll bring in a bigger pot. Okay, and then I'll say, but you know what, I don't have any soil, so today, instead of soil, we're just gonna use some Doritos and gummy bears and crunch those up and put them in the pot. And at first they have fun with this. They're like, oh, this is fun, you know. And then I ask them to put the budding flower inside, and they're like, I don't know about this, right? And then I say, oh, and you know what, today I don't have any water for these plants, so we're just gonna pour some Coca-Cola in here. I give them that can of Coke, and they can't even do it. They can't even do it because they know that that's gonna kill that poor little flower. And that's that aha moment, oh my gosh, we're living people, right? And so what are we feeding ourselves? And how is that hurting us, right? So I always tell my kids, because they're always hungry. Mommy, I want a snack, I'm hungry. So I say, grab something that grows from the ground. You can have an apple, banana, carrots, cucumbers, nuts, but it has to be something that grows from the ground. And I give them this nice little lecture. Only eat things that grow from plants, not made in manufacturing plants. And so they grab their apple and they walk away, and I'm feeling like the proud mom. And as soon as they get out of sight, I'm reaching up in the pantry to grab a piece of that leftover Halloween candy. Because you know what? That quick fix just is tempting, isn't it? And isn't it easier at work to just grab something quick from the vending machine than to go to the produce aisle at the grocery store? Yeah. So when you get ready to make that choice, when you get to that point where you're hungry, or maybe you're even hangry, right? I want you to take 5, all right? So let's do this together. We're just gonna take 5 breaths, all right? Breathe in. Breathe in. Breathe out. Breathe in. Breathe out. Breathe in. One more. Did you notice a shift in your awareness? Yeah, because guess what? Breath is life. And when you focus on that breath, you focus on life, and you decide to make choices that support that life. So take 5. Now, you're not just what you eat, you're also what you do, what you think, and what you believe. So what are you feeding your mind and spirit? Because thoughts really do become things. We looked at our typical day earlier. Now let's look at our typical thoughts. Let's get into your mind for a moment. This is mine. Right? We've got errands to run, a to-do list, longer than our day. We've got deadlines to meet on top of that, and that stresses us out. And the whole time we're thinking, oh my gosh, I'm so tired, I don't even know if I can get it all done. We've got media blasting us with negative messages all the time. You never hear about the 600 planes that land safely. You only hear about the one that crashes. And while I know it's important to keep up with what's going on in the world, at some point you got to turn that stuff off, right? Yeah. So you turn off that, and then you go ahead and look at Instagram to see who's posted what. Those are more positive message, you see your friend on that fancy vacation, and then you see that other friend of yours who's eating that really cool dish, and the other friend who just got her hair done, and she's got that filter, and then you got the FOMO going on, so is that really much better? Those messages kind of get negative too. We've got relationships to support. And sometimes that can be difficult. And all the while, we're saying, I'm not enough. I'm not strong enough. I'm not smart enough. I'm not young enough. I'm not old enough. I'm not rich enough. I'm not enough. And all of these defeating messages together, how can you create anything new? How can you aspire to get to that next level when this is the chaos in your mind? If you imagine all of these thoughts as paint strokes on a canvas, how can you create anything new on a canvas or paint that beautiful picture that you have in your mind if this is what's going on, right? And at the end of the day, you look a little bit like this. I know I do. And get this, this is the worst part. I'm over there cooking dinner at the end of the day. I'm trying to make sure my kids get their homework done, and I'm trying to, keep them from killing each other. And I'm looking over at my husband, and he's all like, some people are just able to put that stress in a box and walk away from it, right? But I have a feeling a lot of the attendees in this room right now who are at a notary conference because they want to be better, you're not this guy, right? You carry that stress a little bit more. So how can we clear the clutter? How can we clear the chaos? How can we get to that clear canvas so that we can build, create, and grow? Well, one of my favorite authors, her name is Susi Sivkov. She wrote Spark Forever. She says, if you don't take a break from listening to what's coming from the outside, you won't be able to hear what's coming from the inside. Because guess what? There is that quiet place. There is that clear canvas. Call it your heart, your spirit, your inner guide. It's there, and it wants to be heard. And when it is, when you can get to that place of calm, you'll experience increased health, happiness, and cognitive performance, which leads to more of those good days that we were talking about, right? Sean Acor, who is a Harvard researcher in neuroscience and psychology, wrote The Happiness Advantage, and he says, when we are positive, our brains become more engaged, creative, motivated, energetic, resilient, and productive, which leads to 23% greater energy, 31% higher productivity, 37% higher sales, and 40% higher likelihood to be promoted. Who wants that? Raise your hand. Right? So how do we get to that clear canvas? Well, our fancy Harvard researcher, with his fancy studies, this is his prescription. Just breathe. Just focus on that breath. Come back to the breath, because breath is life. And when we come back to the breath, we make choices that support that life, and it clears our canvas. And when we breathe, it evolves into gratitude, journaling, prayer, and meditation. He says it only takes 2 minutes a day. Not 60, not 40, not 30, just 2 minutes a day. Now, I have been avoiding the term meditation because for some it has negative implications. For some it just seems intimidating. But meditation just really means to contemplate, to reflect, to observe your thoughts without judgment. I know, I love that frog. So, I decided I wanted to try guided meditation. And so I went to YouTube and found one of those guided meditations, and I just couldn't take it seriously. The guy had this really deep voice, and he was talking very seriously. And he said, I want you to picture a golden cord connecting your tailbone to the center of the earth. I mean, he wants me to grow a golden tail or what? I just couldn't get past that. So something I like to do is cloud gazing. It's simple, it's easy, and it really does help you to get to that clear canvas and to find some guidance and clarity. And that's how we're going to get the junk out. So guess what we're going to do, people? We're going to do some cloud gazing. Everybody's like, this woman's making us dance. Now she's making us like breathe. This is awkward. But we're going to do it anyway. So cue the cheesy meditation music, DJ Moses. And I would like for everybody to close your eyes for a moment and just breathe in, breathe out. And what I want you to do is just picture your mind as if it's the sky, right? And all of your thoughts are the clouds and all the other stuff in the sky. So you've got the white puffy clouds that are your happy thoughts, and you've got the gray clouds that are your stormy thoughts. You might have a helicopter hovering over you to bug you about something, or a jet plane that flies by as a distraction in your thoughts. But I just want you to kind of observe them. Don't judge them. Just look at all your thoughts as if they're clouds. And as you're breathing in and breathing out, you're going to watch those clouds move around. Breathe in, breathe out. And eventually, those clouds are going to start parting, and you're going to find that opening to that blue sky. And that blue sky is your clear canvas. Now, you could go ahead and open your eyes now, all right? Because I just wanted to kind of give you a taste of what that could look like. And if you just spent 2 minutes a day doing that, you're going to see that the clouds open up a little bit more for you every time, to where you get to that place where you find clarity and guidance, all right? Now, I just want to make sure before I move forward, though, did anybody grow that golden tail? No, we're good? Okay. So how do we get the junk out? We breathe. In fact, Phil Jackson, one of the most successful NBA coaches ever, he attributed his basketball coaching success to meditation. And in his book, 11 Rings, Soul Success, he says, when I am in my best nature, I am able to elevate the nature of others. When I am in my best nature, I am able to elevate the nature of others, which leads me to my third and my 3 to thrive, which is story for glory. As humans, we all seek significance. That's one of our innate needs. We just have to know that our life, our story has purpose. But so often we try to deny our story or where we came from or what situation we're in, and we try to pretend that everything's okay and everything's always been okay. We think that that's what people want. But Brené Brown says it well. She says when we deny our stories, they define us. When we own our stories, we get to write a what? Brave new ending. We get to write a brave new ending when we own that story. I'll tell you, growing up, I was a preacher's kid. We moved around a lot. We didn't have a lot of money, but I was always the new girl. And I really struggled with confidence. There was a lot of bullying, and I struggled a lot with confidence and self-esteem. And at some point, that led to a lot of rebellion and self-destruction. And it wasn't until I could look that little girl in the eye and say, you're all right. That's where I got to the point where I was inspired to write Spark Forever, that true beauty course for preteens. So that's my story. So what's your story? Because your life has a unique purpose. Your story is important. Your dreams matter, and your story can change lives. So don't deny your story. Let me say it this way. Don't deny others your story. Every success begins with a humble story. So when we try to pretend that we're just, we got it all together, that's not what people connect with. Customers want to do business with people that they can relate to. And some of you might be thinking, hey, no, I've just never been able to figure out how do I relate to people? How can I just be myself? So I want to do another little exercise with you. I want you to think, what was your favorite food as a child? Or what was one of your favorite food experiences that you remember? Something reminiscent for you? I'll tell you mine. When I was a little kid, we would travel 6 hours to go see my grandmother. And whether we arrived at 7 p.m. or 2 in the morning, we would walk into the house to fresh, homemade, hot cinnamon rolls right out of the oven. Oh, one of the best memories for me ever. So now, and I bet you when I get there next week, guess what's going to be coming out of the oven? Those hot, fresh cinnamon rolls. God bless her. Okay, so now I want you to think about one of your favorite foods as a child, or one of your favorite food memories as a child. And now I want you to turn to the person next to you, and I want you to share it. Share that with someone. So guys and gals, when you were telling your story, did you feel like yourself? Did you light up a little bit? Yeah, something deep within you just lit up your eyes because it was something that's special and endearing to you, right? It changed the energy in the room. I felt it, just this beautiful energy, right? That's how you connect. Because something as ordinary as just your favorite food as a child becomes extraordinary with human connection when it can relate to someone else. Walt Disney says for him it all started with a dream and a mouse. Do you remember the old black and white Mickey Mouse drawings and those old cartoons? That's why we love Disney, not because of the glitz and glam, except for you maybe, Nicola. That's your thing. But for most of us, we love Disney because of its guts, because of its heart and soul, because of where it started. You guys have that. You have the heart and soul. You've got the guts. So connect with who you are, and that way you can connect with others. You've got to believe that that's how your story's going to begin so that you can write your brave new ending. Now, a lot of us have excuses, obstacles to face, and very legitimate ones, okay? But you got to keep believing, because you got to make sure you share your story. Not just to leave your legacy personally, but also to build your company and to get those new clients, right?